cameras ready? All right, guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Hey, thanks everybody for coming today to celebrate the opening of this facility. My name's Mark Stanley. I'm the Area Environmental Manager here. I work for Republic Services in the Mid-Atlantic out of Charlotte. My team's role in this project was supporting operations, our energy partners, and landfill gas extraction, maintaining the health of the landfill, continuous improvement and sustainability efficiencies. But before we get started, there's a lot of people in the crowd. I want to recognize some special guests. I'm not going to recognize you by name, but we've got some city, local, county representatives, North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, and some other distinguished guests. We'll cover that in a bit. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the amazing team that's helped bring this project right to life over the last 3 years. Energy Earring Solutions for planning and plant design and construction. Republic Services, Stephen Hunter and his operations team. And I'd also like to include Stoddard Pickerel, who's the new environmental manager here. They've all done a great job. In addition, John Zink did their work on integrating the flare system at the gas plant, and also the many subcontractors who helped build this facility. Without the talent and dedication, we would not be standing here right now. This project was a true partnership, and today you'll hear from several leaders who played a pivotal role in that. You'll also get a behind-the-scenes look at what's being done here, and the staff, Rodney and his team. Rodney, raise your hand. Look for Rodney and Noah to take tours, and they'll be able to answer all your questions. And then, next I'd like to introduce you to Joe Salamone for the next portion of the presentation. Joe is our Area Vice President out of Charlotte. Joe?
Thanks, Mark. Definitely glad to be here today. I guess you know my title now, so I work for Mr. Walker right here on the second row, so thank you, Jane, for inviting me out here to be able to speak a little bit today. I definitely echo Mark's comments. Without our contractors and our local team, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you for all that have came out and celebrated with us. It is Republic Services' vision is to partner with customers to create a more sustainable world. Republic is fortunate to have a partner in Caldwell County that shares our strategic vision. I do want to mention Donald Duncan. Where's Mr. Donald Duncan? There he is, sir. I appreciate your leadership and helping us to select RNG here at Foothills. Republic has set a long-term sustainability goal to send 50% more landfill gas to beneficial reuse by 2030. Here in North Carolina, we are making great strides towards reaching that goal. Today, we are thrilled to showcase the Foothills RNG project. Looking forward to y'all seeing this tour and spending some time over on that side of the building. It is one of 2 renewable natural gas facilities being commissioned here in the state of North Carolina. We just had one earlier this week in Upper Piedmont, so we're very excited that both got kicked off in the same month. This facility, developed in partnership with Evansol, Duke Energy, and ESI, is a testament to our ongoing commitment to the Caldwell County community and to the state of North Carolina. And I'm proud to say the Foothills RNG project is one of the 2 facilities in the state of North Carolina. Our partners at Evansol will talk shortly about the technology and how the facility works. Looking forward to that myself. But first, I'd like to share just a few highlights. The Foothills RNG project will produce up to 500,000 decatherms of natural gas each year. That's equivalent to the average annual natural gas use of around 8,500 residents. It's also equivalent to conserving more than 61,000 barrels of oil. So as you can see, the use of RNG can significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions by creating clean energy. Innovative solutions like this play a vital role in creating a healthier environment for everyone. The project is the result of strong community partnerships with Evansol, Duke Energy, and ESI, and along with all the other contractors that contributed. Each company shares our commitment to creating a more sustainable world, and each has brought their own unique experience and expertise to this project. Now that's what we call, folks, sustainability in action. So let's go with it. On behalf of our North Carolina team and all 40,000 Republic Services employees across North America, thank you for being here today. Now I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Painter with Duke Energy. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here today. My name is Elizabeth Painter. I lead the Ventures and Alternative Fuels team at Duke Energy. I want to thank Republic Services for hosting us today and being our partners, along with Evansol, ESI, and my colleagues at Piedmont Natural Gas for getting us to where we are today. At Duke Energy, we believe that renewable natural gas is one of the tools that we have as we move towards a lower carbon future. And that's why we invest in facilities like this one. I'm also really excited to be standing in North Carolina, celebrating in this state. It's one of Duke Energy's home states. And we look forward to this project providing cleaner air for the surrounding communities and natural gas for the residents of North Carolina for many years to come. So thank you again for coming today. And now I'd like to introduce David Wentworth, the President and CEO of Evansol.
Thank you, folks, all of you, for coming. For those of you who are doing this a second time, thank you especially. I know it's a bit of a drive. We did it on Tuesday from Raleigh, so it's great to be here. It's especially great to be here doing this in the same week. This effort, as I'll speak about in a second, has been a significant one, and doing two at the same time, I think, is unique in nature and in the industry right now. So we're grateful to all the people that have supported us to get us here. And with that, I'll give you a little bit of background on Evansol. The company was founded in 2013. Benny Benson and I co-founded the company. At that time, we were doing it to basically try to acquire some LFG to power plants. We did that. RNG wasn't a gleam in anybody's eye 10 years ago. Fortunately, it is today. The principles of Evansol, we have over 25 years experience in the industry, which hopefully has taught us more about what not to do and a little bit about what to do. Hopefully that's reflected in what we've done here in North Carolina. A little context, which I think is not unique in the biogas and landfill gas industry. The agreements for this site, the Upper Piedmont site, were originally signed in 2015. They were signed with an expectation of building power plants. That's what we did, that's what we planned. Our good friends and investors at Duke decided that they would get into the solar business, and that pretty much killed the everything else renewable business in North Carolina for a long time. The good news is, around the same time, the RNG market started to mature, started to become viable, and in 2018, we ended up amending these contracts to reflect the development of what would be the plants that you're seeing today. In late 2019, we signed offtake agreements for both of these facilities with BP. That was opportune because we just came through the worst RIN market the business had ever seen. That's reflected in very favorable economics for the plants today. In June of 21, we closed a critical strategic equity investment with Duke. We have partnered with them effectively through the development, construction, and now the operations of these projects. And in December of that year, we closed I believe the first in the industry, a USDA-backed senior secured loan with greater commercial lending to add, at that time, about 80% of the total project capital here. So, and then finally, we personally on the Evansol side put a strategic investment together with our friends at Packlet Milliken in South Carolina. That was critical as we and many developers faced some cost changes, some schedule changes associated with these projects. So all of those equity and debt partners have been absolutely critical to our advancing these projects to where they are today. I'll do a quick description of what you'll see, and you'll get much better detail when you're able to walk around. But these plants fundamentally take landfill gas, take the water out of it, take the impurities out of it, separate carbon dioxide, separate nitrogen, and what we end up with is a pipeline quality gas. All electrons are identical, all gas is different. This alternative gas spec in North Carolina was the result of pretty extended negotiations with utilities, universities, developer stakeholders, and ultimately ended up in the North Carolina Utilities Commission, and we ended up with a specification that is manageable. I'm happy to report that since both of these plants have started up, we have regularly exceeded the injection specifications here, and that is the way to engender trust, faith, and confidence that what we're going to be able to do consistently for the term. What do we make? We make conventional natural gas. It is indistinguishable from the natural gas that will be geologic. It has to be, otherwise it won't be permitted in the pipelines. But because of the feedstock, the biogenic feedstock, that gas qualifies for an environmental attribute called a RIN. It happens to be a D3 RIN, which happens to be the most valuable of the RINs that are out there. So it is that market that has allowed this plant to get built. There's no way these facilities can be built and operate on the economics of conventional natural gas, not yet. We'll see what the next decade brings. Environmentally, and that includes emission and carbon reductions, these plants can produce up to 35,000 tons per year of avoided carbon emissions that are converted to RNG product. If you think about it, anything that was combusted here on the methane side is now converted to a product and taken off site. So that is a significant reduction in carbon relative to a lot of other facilities that use these sorts of feedstocks. And on jobs basis, there were certainly 50, I bet there were 75 construction jobs in play at each of these facilities. And on a permanent basis, there are 3 permanent operators here. There are probably twice that many on a regional basis that are deployed and seconded here as required. As you'll see when you go through the plant, it's a sophisticated facility. As I like to say, making electrons is an event, making RNG is a process. You will see a process when you walk through there. I want to make a special point to thank some of our key partners and stakeholders, the first of whom isn't here, but I'd be remiss in not acknowledging Brian Martz. Brian was the environmental project director for Republic, I think for a dozen years. During that time, and much of it related to these projects, we developed a very workable, functional relationship, and he has a lot of credit for bringing us to this point and bringing Republic as a partner. Don Phelps, who is here, who has been here from the beginning and has done a great job of helping us to understand this particular site and its relationship with Caldwell County. Mark Stanley, who has been very active and probably will be very active for the next 20 years, making sure this gas system is delivering us a feedstock that we can reliably process. Matt Einsman, who originally we had a relationship at Upper Piedmont. Now I think that's going to extend to both sites. He's been critical in terms of understanding and managing the gas systems. Jacqueline Fouts, Meredith Gibson, who has now come in and taken, as I understand it, Brian's role. So I've warned her that I'll be bothering her for the next 10 years. Now that we know how to do this, we'd like to do a couple more. Tim Albin out in Phoenix, and David Penoyer, who really heads up a gas group that is getting increasingly involved, thank God, with developers and with new projects to essentially make that fuel source match and marry up well with this process. At Duke Energy, Sasha Weintraub, who is the president of the group, we had an opportunity to visit with Sasha earlier. I think he had to leave. Special thanks to Elizabeth Painter. She and I have had a relationship since, I think, September of 20 when we signed the term sheet to do all of this. So she's put up with a lot. Tyler Murtaugh, Lance Stocks, and John Huell, the entire Duke team has been a terrific partner in every sense of the word. As I've mentioned, there are a lot of different kinds of investors. These folks are long-term infrastructure style investors with a utility mindset. It's very different from some of the private equity culture that we've experienced. So we're grateful for that. At ESI Solutions, Benny Benson, of course, Jeff Berlin, who is the senior partner there of their affiliate, Alan Herron, the reason we're into the pipelines is because Alan managed all the gas specifications and testing, which are rigorous on these pipelines. Rodney Cecina, if you haven't met Rodney, he'll be one of the ones explaining to you what you're looking at, and he's doing a wonderful job. But commissioning these plants is not easy, and thankfully the commissioning teams at both sites have been around since the beginning, meaning since construction was still ongoing. Their knowledge of these facilities is invaluable. Keegan Mullenix and Dave Currington, who really headed up the construction team. At Piedmont Natural Gas, our relationship dates back to developing an interconnection agreement, developing, as you'll learn, a injection site, which is not here. It's 18 miles away at a discrete, what's called a decant station. David Nestor and Reed Jamil, we thank them for their team, the flexibility. Folks at Duke Carolinas, I don't know if anybody's here, all of these projects have inbound power. It's not insignificant. They did a great job of working with Benny's ESI's electrical group to give us the power that we need. Special thanks to Greater Commercial Lending. Jeremy Gilpin is here, the president. They are the folks that provided the senior debt for us. That was extraordinarily valuable for us. Bruce Pleasant, who's the North Carolina USDA representative, and a special guy by the name of Donnie Woolley, who's basically in the business of liaisoning between developers, lenders, and the USDA. If you ever need to do a USDA loan, I'll give you Donnie's number. He's the guy. Leyline Renewable Capital, they provided the initial development capital for us. We couldn't have built these projects without being able to do the basis of design, do the permitting, do the necessary front-end development to attract a permanent investor. And they took on that risk at a critical time. Hexagon Agility, you will see some pretty fancy trailers over there. We have 3 of them. That is how we deliver the gas. Hexagon certainly is the leader in this industry, and those trailers are unique in their ability to deliver the quantity of gas that they can haul. Viking Transportation, they are helping us initially with our logistics as we work to self-perform and use some of our own equipment. They likewise stepped in at the time when we were starting up, which was critical. BP Energy, I mentioned, they have the offtake for both of these projects. The public organizations, Caldwell County, North Carolina DEQ, Air Quality, the North Carolina Utilities Commission. You don't do one of these without air permits, Utilities Commission approval, gas specifications, interconnects, etc., and a few others. Finally, the Evansol team, Benny Benson, Mark Hayes, our general counsel, is here, Marcus Gillette, and Candace Danbo. We collectively, again, are very grateful for the opportunity to do this, certainly the opportunity to do 2 of them, and we hope we will be good stewards of your landfill gas and your environment, and we look forward to more and better. Thank you.
Let's come back. Hi, my name's Benny Benson with ESI. Just briefly, I want to do something that you don't often see at the ribbon cuttings or hear about. You heard all the partnerships and what it took to put this together. There's a strong partnership in the development side, but execution of these projects is, if you heard some of the dates, kicking some of this off around 21, 22, a few events happened globally, locally, and everywhere else in our life. And so the accomplishment that you'll actually walk around today, in my mind, is a pretty significant accomplishment of the last couple of years. And the fact that 2 of those are happening as the first 2 in North Carolina is a significant message for what this week is representing. You heard about a name, and I'll say it again, and he should be here. His name's Dave Currington. Dave he's the Energizer bunny of contractors that works with us. He'd be here, except he's building another plant for us right now over in Missouri. But many of you knew him, and it's a good compliment. I'm sure all the site guys ended up with strong relations. That's a solid recognition worth noting. Other than that, after that is these run 24/7. It's a facility. We sometimes simplify it. We take what the biology's given us, we filter it, we suck on it, we filter it, we blow on it. But the reality is, there's 3 guys here that normally wouldn't get recognized on and there's more to that, but Noah Percy, where he at with the ESI shirts. These guys will be helping you with the tours, but he's been here from the beginning on the construction through the commission. They keep things running. James Gooden, James, the little guy over there, he's hiding under ESI shirts. Rodney Cecina standing next to those guys with ESI. These are the ones that are making it happen. They're the ones that take the call out because lightning might have done something, because some have, they keep it running 24/7, and then Keegan Molinax here who runs our operations team. So special recognition for the ops guys. One, to recognize them. Two, they will be explaining what you're going to be looking at. So just briefly on the tour side, what we found worked fairly well with this size group. If we want to meet in the control room initially, Rodney can give you a quick rundown of what's happening, and then we'll break up into about 3 groups. And one will work through the electrical side, one will work into the process side, and one will tour around the outside. We'll kind of split that up. But if you have any questions, feel free to stop anyone along the way. Feel free to ask questions. We're proud of it. We're excited about it. And there's a good future here. So, thank you. And I think that's it. So glad to meet in the control room, or go from there.
To automate this whole process as automatically as possible. So, basically we could pretty much start and stop by hitting just a couple different buttons. And that just, removes a lot of the workload from the operators instead of going through each piece of equipment and kind of manually starting it, which turns into some headaches. So.
I got everyone.